They vote on the meeting.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Fine, I must
Yeah.
win back.
Good.
We're good.
I'd like to welcome everyone to this Millburn School District 24 regular board meeting for May 23rd. Roll call, please.
Ms. Voss.
Present.
Mr. Coleman.
Present?
Mr. Lorenzen.
Present.
Mr. Murphy.
Here.
Mr. Pederini is absent. And Ms. Roberts. Ms. Roberts.
Present. I'm here.
Stand for the pledge, please. The pledge of allegiance
To the
To the
flag.
flag of the United States.
To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
No public comments. Does anyone have any additions? Okay. I will entertain a motion to appoint a new board member.
I move that we, I guess it's gonna be me. I move that we appoint Jim Guziak to fill the open seat on the Millburn School.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Mr. Coleman.
Yes.
Mr. Lorenzen.
Yes.
Mr. Murphy.
Yes.
Mr. Pederini is absent. Ms. Roberts.
Yes.
And Ms. Voss.
Yeah.
All right.
All
welcome
right,
aboard,
Jim,
Mr.
come
Guziak.
on up and read your oath of office, and you will be officially a reinvented board member.
You know, I never said I'll be back, but apparently.
You are made of steel.
I don't know which is better. Okay, there you go. Thank you, Jason. Okay.
When there's blanks, that
you
means your
don't-
name.
Okay, so,
Unnecessary.
You're good.
all right. I, James Guziak, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of member of the Board of Education of District 24 in accordance with the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and the laws of the State of Illinois to the best of my ability. I further swear that I shall respect taxpayer interests by serving as a faithful protector of the school district's assets. I shall encourage and respect the free expression of opinion by my fellow board members and others who seek a hearing before the board, while respecting the privacy of students and employees. I shall recognize that a board member has no legal authority as an individual and that decisions can be made only by a majority vote at a public board meeting. I shall abide by majority decisions of the board while retaining the right to seek changes in such decisions through ethical and constructive channels. As part of the Board of Education, I shall accept the responsibility for my role in the equitable and quality education of every student in the school district. I shall foster with the board extensive participation of the community, formulate goals, define outcomes, and set the course for Millburn. I shall assist in establishing a structure of and an environment designed to ensure all students have the opportunity to attain their maximum potential through a sound organizational framework. I shall strive to ensure a continuous assessment of student achievement and all conditions affecting the education of our children in compliance with state law. I shall serve as education's key advocate on behalf of students in our community school to advance the vision for Millburn, and I shall strive to work together with the district superintendent to lead the school district toward fulfilling the vision the board has created, fostering excellence for every student in the areas of academic skills, knowledge, citizenship, and personal development.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Very much appreciated.
Thank you, Ms. Boss.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vanessa.
Does he have already?
Be well.
he has a nameplate.
He does. It didn't make it to the recycling. Or is this recycling or whatever?
Dr. Johns.
Chairs. Yes.
Finally got new chairs. You waited for me to leave. Just so the board knows, I'm gonna be looking at my phone, but I'll probably be looking stuff up. I'm not texting or anything until I get a laptop. I'm supplying my own laptop, so I want you to think I'm not paying attention or anything.
All right. Reading of board policies.
Okay, so this is the approval of the board policies. This is our second reading. I would like to point out a couple of things. We made one change. It's not substantive. It's with the Fair Labor Standards Act, so 5:35. The board policy as it was presented did not match what's in our contract for our PSRP folks. So we matched it with our contract. Just all it did is shift the work week from Saturday, going from Saturday to Friday to Sunday night, or Monday morning at 12 a.m. to Sunday. So that's the only change that we made since the last posting, and it's just that issue. I'd also like to point out the accelerated placement program policy. And by 2023, there's the policy states that if a student meets or exceeds on the state standardized test, that would be the Illinois Assessment for Readiness, they would automatically be enrolled in the next highest level of academic course. So in other words, yeah, it's very confusing. No one knows what this means, including the people that wrote the policy, but we had to have the policy in place to match the law. So the rules will come out sometime this year, I'm hoping, to do that. I just wanted to give people a heads up at how this is going to be interesting. I understand the intent behind this law, but if every time someone meets on a standardized test and they have to move up to the next level, that's not clear how that is supposed to be implemented, especially at the elementary school where there's not clear defined levels. Does that mean the next grade level? Because more than 50% of our students meet on the state test. They meet the standard, so every year we have to move 50% of our kids up to the next grade level. But does that mean when they take the test the next year they'd have to move to the next grade level, or is it just they would level out there? Or do half of our students have to advance? It makes absolutely zero sense.
We have to comply with the law with complete lack of clarity.
Yeah.
I assume you've talked with our lawyers and
Nope.
they've. Can we exclude that one for this week?
Yep.
If we just exclude that one for this week.
We can just leave it out.
Take a look, yeah. And understanding that we have to do the same thing.
In there, it's vague for a reason, and they say in the notes, they said, consult with your lawyer to see what that means, but no one seems to know what that means yet, because it's too soon.
The lawyer's going to look at the law.
Right.
To know what that means, which lacks clarity.
Right, because ISB has to write the definition
Yeah.
and the rules for that, and they haven't done that yet. To my knowledge, this is the first I've seen it. So, but I'd be happy to leave that.
Put it off and not just until next time, but until we have, at least get some guidance. Yeah.
Until there's guidance in place, sure. So 6:135 is being stricken.
Any other gotchas?
Any other gotchas? I didn't see any other gotchas in there. That one almost slipped by, but I was reading it.
I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
6260, that's one of the ones that I was able to take a look at. I wasn't able to look at all of them. Some of them I wasn't able to open up for some reason, but that's fine. I believe it starts out that it's parents' complaints about curriculum. Is that specific to parents, or is it also taxpayers? In other words, do the taxpayers have an opinion to be considered for curriculum?
I don't know. Let's look it up.
Persons who believe that curriculum, instructional materials.
Right, but then it flips back and forth between parents
Yeah,
and guardians.
parents,
and
guardians have the right to inspect, used as part of their child's educational curriculum pursuant to 715. And then it goes on, persons who believe that curriculum, instructional materials, or programs violate rights guaranteed by any law or board policy should file a complaint using board policy 260. So it talks about the rights of inspection being held by the parents and guardians. However, if you have an objection or believe it's violating the rights, you follow this particular board policy.
But does the wording preclude people filing a grievance that are not in the
I don't
in
think
the
so,
group
no.
of
It
parents
doesn't
and guardians?
preclude someone from filing a complaint based on 260. There you go. So second paragraph provides instruction on how to do so.
Okay, so the wording is persons, and you're saying that that's a larger group than parents/guardians.
Well, the first one refers to the student and family privacy rights.
Okay,
So that might be why it's specific,
Yeah.
more
Okay.
specified there. The second one may not. And then when going through the uniform grievance procedure, there would have to be a grievance.
sure.
So that might look different. A parent grievance may look different than a community grievance. You'd have to argue it.
Sure.
It might be the same question. You might have the same question, but you would argue it from a different perspective.
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
At least it's possessive here, right? Or their child's educational in the first sentence, and then in the final sentence there speaks of
Yeah, it's
their child, his or her child.
It's poorly written, because the last sentence should probably be up with the first
First paragraph.
So I don't know, can we rewrite it that way, or?
Well, that's referring to an exemption.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly.
So this is a parent filing an exemption for their students being subjected to material that they don't want.
Right.
That's an individual parent's right. As a community member, if you don't have a child, you're not going to need to file an exemption for your student. You can't.
Right.
For example, John can't file an exemption for my daughter.
Right, but then that sentence structurally,
The whole thing could be.
the
together.
whole sentence, a parent guardian must, it should be a parent/guardians have the right to inspect any instructional material used as part of their child's educational curriculum pursuant to school board policy, whatever. A next sentence, a parent guardian may request that his or her child be exempt from using a particular instructional material or program by completing a curriculum objective form. Second paragraph, persons who believe that curriculum instruction materials or programs violate rights guaranteed by any law or board policy should file a complaint using board policy, whatever, uniform grievance procedure. Persons with all other suggestions or complaints about curriculum, instruction materials, or programs should complete a curriculum objection form.
Yeah.
So the first part is student and family privacy rights, and then the second part is objections. So the
General.
first part, you can, as a parent, you can see the curriculum before it's taught.
Right.
Yep.
And then the second part is, if there's some sort of complaint, there's two separate things. As a non-parent, you have a grievance, you can do it this way. As a parent, you can also object. But then the last part, I believe, is saying, if you have an objection, as opposed to it's violating a right.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
Okay, so it should be read as persons with all other suggestions. So a person would be any member of the community, probably inside of the district. And that's truly the intention?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you.
anything else we want to? Someone like to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion for the approval of the board policies as presented.
Kind of puts me in an awkward position because most of these things I was gonna vote present on, but we don't have a quorum. I mean, I don't have a lot of,
We
We have a quorum.
we have a quorum, and at this point, we just have to have a majority of the people who are
Got
here.
You're fine. You can go first.
got it, okay, thank you.
We can do it all in favor, right?
We can do it all in favor.
All in favor of, approval of the motion, say aye.
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 I'm sorry, opposed? Present?
Motion carries.
Somebody else.
Yes, Cassie is.
Cassie's revoked.
The motion passes.
All this fancy new technology stuff, I'm telling you.
Approval of appointment of district treasurer and approval of treasurer bond in the amount of $6 million.
Okay, so because our treasurer, the school district treasurer has access to a certain amount of money, we are required to provide insurance for the district on covering that money. So we are to $6 million treasurer's bond. We are required to do that, no matter what.
And this protects us from fraud or loss or?
Yep, protects us from loss if someone tries to get away with stealing district funds. Protects the district. There's other ways, hopefully, I don't, should never get up to any money. 6 million would be a lot, I would think we would catch that. We don't
Well,
have that much rattling around, but nonetheless.
we have a motion?
So moved. Second?
Roll call, please.
Sean,
Yeah.
Mr. Lorenzen, sorry.
Yes.
Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
Miss Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Coleman.
Yes.
Who motioned that one?
Sean said.
Jim still.
Sean second.
Can I ask Jim
So soon you forget.
Everyone's taking the day off.
I have to write your name in. Mr. Guziak.
I will vote present.
The motion passes. Thank you. Arbor management as food service manager.
Okay.
Can we talk about that one?
Yes, please.
Every 5 years, we have to do a new food service bid, which is a 1-year acceptance, and then you can have up to 4 renewals. So every 5 years, you have to rebid. We did bid, we had, I think it's in my report, but let's see, we had 2 vendors came to the pre-bid meeting. We actually sent it out, I believe, to 5 vendors. 2 vendors submitted letters they didn't want to bid on the food service contract, and 3 didn't respond. So we did 7 we sent it to. So Arbor was the low bid. There is paperwork that Carly submitted to the state, and they approved our recommendation of Arbor Management as the low bidder. So then at this point, then the board can take action on that. And then there's a post-bid paperwork then we have to send to the state to finalize everything. This is just a copy of the bid, all the different documents that they had to provide, and then on the far right-hand side of the pricing. And it's based on a specific number of meals that is, I think, based on the average meals we've had. And then we threw in 100 breakfasts, so if we had breakfast, we already have a price, which was really helpful when we had the pandemic, and we did provide breakfast to families. So the other vendor was close, but not close enough. And we have been, happy with what they've done for us and their willingness to work with us. So I don't have any reservations recommending Arbor.
I have a question.
Yep.
Does anybody know what the difference is as it relates to quality of food served between the 2 companies?
No, we don't, but at this point in time, that's something that we're not allowed to consider in the food service bid. There is some legislation out there that would change that, but I don't think that has been passed yet. So at this point, as long as they meet the criteria of providing the type of meal that's required by the state, we have to go with the low bid unless there's something that we, can prove that they're not, that they're not a responsible bidder, which we can't do that because they are. I can't say that they're not, so. But unfortunately, that's something that we can't consider at this point in time.
Oh,
That's a good question.
It is, but I think we're one of just a handful of states that doesn't allow you to rate it based on some of those other criteria, but
Right.
in Illinois, we can
yeah,
do
that's
that.
kind of disturbing.
This is a very controlled bid process.
Okay.
Documents that we send to the vendors for them to reply to us have to be approved by the state before we can send them out.
Any other questions? Can we get a motion?
I'd like to make a motion for the approval of Arbor Management as food service manager. I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
Ms. Roberts,
Present.
Mr. Guziak,
Present.
Mr. Coleman,
Yes.
Mr. Lorenzen.
Yes.
The motion passes. Cottonwood Estates impact.
Dr. Johns again.
Actually, last meeting, we did discuss this. Basically, the Cottonwood Estates subdivision, the board has to approve resolution and the pricing, which increases by the December CPI. So in this case, it's based on the December 2021 CPI that affects the 22-23 school year, so July 1, 22 through June 30th, 23. So that increases by 5%, and if you scroll to the bottom, you can see what that cost is based on the number of bedrooms in the home. And this is not a subdivision that has a lot of new homes being built, so you may have one every few years, but.
Does anybody have questions?
And the agreement basically is an agreement with the county that allows them to collect the impact fee on our behalf and pass it on to the district. So they actually charge that impact fee when they get the building permit, because this is an unincorporated Lake County.
We have a motion on Cottonwood Estates impact fee.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the Cottonwood Estates impact fee.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Guziak,
Present.
Mr. Coleman,
Yes.
Mr. Lorenzen,
Yes.
Mr. Murphy.
Yes. Yeah, passes. The consent agenda, would anyone like to pull anything out? Or does anyone have any questions on this?
No?
If not, if someone would make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as recorded.
Second. Well, there's a delay, and you guys are so quiet on the phone.
I got you. I understand.
That's right.
If there's no questions, all in favor? No, we can't do that.
Nope.
We have to do a roll call.
Mr. Guziak,
Still present.
Mr. Coleman,
Yes.
Mr. Lorenzen,
Yes.
Mr. Murphy.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Ms.
Yes,
Roberts.
Ms. Roberts?
Ms. Roberts.
Yes.
Motion still carries. Hey, Veronica back this meeting.
This is information and discussion. FOIA request.
Okay, that's just for informational for the board. There was a FOIA request. Any questions about that and any more specificity, you can contact me at another time.
Okay. Update on academic achievements, we're gonna put that off.
Yeah, we're gonna put that off, I think, until everybody's here and coherent, and we can have a good discussion about that.
That's good.
Suffice it to say, the kids are doing great, teachers have done great, and we're not quite back to pre-pandemic levels, but awfully close, and in some grades we actually are. And 8th grade math, I want to point out, had the highest average math scores of any class ever,
Wow.
on average.
Nice.
Aren't we losing our 8th grade math teacher this year?
No, one more year.
No, one more year, okay.
So she can beat the record next year?
I have something to do with all those teachers ahead of me.
It's a group effort, to be sure, but nonetheless, that's good news, and especially coming out of a pandemic and having 8th graders at that level is wonderful to see that our kids are still achieving very, very highly.
It's impressive.
Yep. lots of hard work there.
Future agenda items, does anyone have anything they wanna add or questions?
As long as 6135 is included amongst those board policies for review, nothing more to
Should we put that out till the fall maybe? 'Cause I don't think we're gonna see
add.
any.
Yeah, if there's no clarity, yeah,
Just leave it until we see something
yeah,
pop. So we don't have to keep it on that.
yeah. Just so we don't lose track of it.
Can I ask what is the district consolidation plan?
Yes, the district consolidated, it's not a consolidation plan for the district to consolidate. This is for our Title I, II, IV, and whatever title grants from the federal
it.
government. It's a consolidated application. So a few years ago, the state had a brilliant idea of, instead of us applying for all these grants in separate columns and buckets,
Yeah.
they're gonna put them all together.
Got it.
So what they did is put them all together and make it a bigger grant, and then still have to do it in separate buckets within that bucket. So,
So is
in
that
other
good or
words,
is that bad?
it was efficiency that
Okay.
made it less efficient. Is apt to do with.
He's only a little annoyed.
And
I'm
all of
real
those things
annoyed
have to
right now.
coordinate, so I can't have something in the district consolidated plan and write something different in the grant unless I go back and change the consolidated plan.
It's really annoying.
It's a pain.
Wow, sorry I asked.
That's okay. There's been that kind of a day.
It's okay, you're new.
Superintendent's
should've known
report is that graduation is tomorrow night, right, Mr. Jorgensen?
Correct.
And it begins at
5:30.
5:30, Mr. Jorgensen?
Yep. And it lasts about an hour.
It lasts about an hour.
At the
And it's
middle
just one ceremony this year,
school, outside.
Correct.
and it's outdoors,
Whole group.
whole group, awesome. That'll be fun.
There are
Backup
seats
plan
for
is
all of you if
Wednesday?
you wanna come, but it's not
What's that?
required.
Backup plan is Wednesday,
Yeah.
we saw.
Yeah.
But the backup day looks worse than the tomorrow.
Yeah, we were watching the weather closely because last week, Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday were all 70% chance or more of rain. So, then miraculously, Tuesday has cleared up.
Good.
Yeah.
Thursday is staff appreciation, end of the year. So we'll celebrate that, and all the board is welcome to that at 3:30. Excuse me, at the middle school. So if you can make it, that's okay. That would be great. If you can't, I understand. It's a busy time of the year. Very, very, very busy. And that's, Friday, kids go home. Friday for the summer. They're released for the summer. At least most of them. We'll keep a few of them here for summer school, but most of them will go home. And our staff as well. Get some rest. That's
2
it.
more weeks.
That's all I got.
Thank you. Dr. Johns?
Oh, not a whole lot. I did put in my report that I emailed you that the air conditioning, and it's not linked there.
Oh, that's
I emailed it, but the air conditioning unit in the technology closet at the middle school that we were a little concerned about, and ended up just being a contactor switch, so it wasn't an expensive repair. At some point in the next probably 5 years or so, that unit will probably die and you'll have to replace it. But at this point, it's still kicking away. Insurance, workers' compensation insurance is gonna drop by about $20,000 from what it was last year. And our experience modification factor was 0.92. And anything 1.00 or below is considered good. If you're over 1, then that's a concern. Cyber liability insurance, they're still finalizing a vendor for that. They're sure they're going to be able to get us coverage, but we don't have pricing yet. We do anticipate it'll be higher than what we paid last year, which was $11,106. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was 20–30% higher. Property casualty insurance, increase of about 12.5% or 12,448. So last year it was 100,142 when I pull out the cyber liability. This year it's 112,590, which compared to what many other vendors are charging is really a good deal, even though it probably doesn't sound like it. And then our fiduciary insurance is basically dealing with our responsibilities with the 403B plans is going to remain at $2,150 a year. So overall, you know, pretty much balances out. So I think the cost will be similar to last year, just slightly lower. Let me get all the numbers in. And then we also did a stop arm survey on April 26th. It was done actually statewide on April 26th, but I think it was done nationwide this spring. And on that day, we had 6 drivers that ignored the stop arm, 4 in the morning and 2 during midday runs. And there aren't very many buses out there during midday, only early childhood. So that's not necessarily good. I will probably be recommending some budget transfers. We always do the interest transfers at the end of the year. But we may also, I may also recommend a transfer from the tort fund. Anytime any of our funds end up with a cash balance of more than 2 times the annual expenditures from, I don't know if it's from the average of the last 2 years or 3 years or something, then there are attorneys who will find large taxpayers and will come after our money to take back some of that money that they said we didn't need. So if we transfer it into another fund, then probably where I'll recommend we transfer it to is either operations and maintenance or capital projects, because we really don't have any revenue streams in the next few years that'll bring any dollars in for capital improvements or emergency kind of projects.
Like air conditioners.
Like air conditioners. That could be, actually those are probably in the $20,000 to $30,000 range. The ones for the tech closets. So, maybe I'm wrong, maybe they're only 15. Either way, it's still a chunk of money. That's about it.
Thank you. Board reports.
I have something. I went to the choir concert at the middle school, and it was very nice, very well done. I saw some familiar faces there, and it was really nice. And I saw Cassie there too. So
Excellent. Awesome.
He means the little one.
yeah.
We don't have a closed session tonight?
We do not.
All right. Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that one.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Cassie.
Thanks, Cassie.
Thank you. I'm stuck in Georgia in the middle of a storm, so it's,
Mm.
yeah.